Hey everyone, Michael from Altona Painting here. So in this video we're going to do a door, okay? So I've already wiped it down, it was pretty dirty. I'm just going to give it a very quick scuff. It's actually in really good condition. There's just a couple, little fluffs that are left on the door, I guess, from the last paint job. So when you give it a scuff, it just roughs up the surface, gives the paint something to grab onto. Okay?
Looking good, bro. Get into those cracks.
Alright, so I've just finished sanding the door, so it's nice and smooth, gives the paint something to latch onto, and this mitigates the boss, the foreman, or even the client coming up to you and saying, hey, what's this? Hey, what's that? Hey, what's that? Okay, because you don't want to be painting trim with a bunch of little specks and drips and this and that everywhere, right? You want to try and get rid of that as much as you can. So we're going to be using the Dulux Life Master Semi-Gloss Solid Trim Paint. We've already shaken it up pretty well. They shook it at the store. I'm just going to stir it a little bit here. Doesn't hurt. Okay. And then, for example, if you have a fresh can of paint, you want to stir it like soup, where you just pull it up, right? It gives you a nice good stir.
A nice consistency of paint.
Oh.
Okay, so that's how you pour it, but you definitely do not need that much paint for one door. So this is probably going to be our paint station now for all three of the doors in here, but you guys only get the privilege of watching us paint one.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to get started. So with a door, you always want to go cut and then roll. So I personally always like to start with the edge where it meets the door jamb. Okay. We're gonna definitely have to do 2 coats. These are pretty yellow.
So right now Mike is painting the jamb because you cut and roll a door in 2 parts. So when he picks this little nifty device up, which is called a mini roller, it's the same as a big roller. It's just made for little surfaces like window frames, doors, the innards of crown molding, stuff like that. This tool actually helps you get the finish of the roller. So when you brush, if you look very closely, you can see the brush stroke. When you roll over top of it, it just makes one flush, consistent finish on the door, right? So you're not getting a half brush stroke, half rolled door, but you cannot roll into the cracks because you'll just get paint drips everywhere. Yeah. So realistically, you only have to cut when it's right up against the door crease or the hinges here. Sometimes you can get away with rolling the whole door, but in cases like this, you should cut.
Yeah, you always, whenever you're cutting and rolling a door, wall, ceiling, anything, obviously rolling's faster, so you want to maximize the amount that you're rolling. So right now I'm really just cutting, like Matt said, anything that needs to be cut. So I'm just cutting where it meets the floor, where it meets the door jamb, and then I'm going to cut around the knobs. Oops, I'll get that up.
And then basically, after all that's cut out, you take the mini roller and you just blitz through.
Yeah. And then when you're pulling out of the corner here, go in and get rid of any hair crap. Okay, it's old paint just peeling up there. Okay, I'm just gonna get in the crack there and pull up. And then I'm gonna get in the crack down here and pull across. Okay. I'm gonna do the hinges quickly.
Yes. Now. And then show them how to cut around a door frame.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I'll say about hinges is if they were already painted, paint them. If they were not painted,
don't touch them.
Don't touch them. Okay, because if they were not painted and the client sees that you've painted them, people are gonna get pretty rattled.
Yes. Depends if they're a gold finish, right? If they're a gold or black finish, definitely don't paint them. But if they're a white finish and they still look unpainted, I would paint them the same color white so you don't have mismatching door hinges. But then again, you have people who are particular that like their different colors. So as Mike said, if it's painted, painted. If it's not painted, don't do it.
Yeah, just gauge the client really. But yeah, you can see, well, you can't see from the camera there, but I'm not going very heavy on the hinges here, right? One thing that's very important to note about painting trim is you have to strike a balance between just enough paint where it's like at the borderline of going to be dripping and not enough paint. So somewhere in that spectrum, because if you put too much paint, it's going to drip, but if you don't put enough paint,
it's just not going to cover.
It's not going to cover, yeah. Now, obviously, these doors are... the trim in this room is very yellow. We'll have to two-coat it. A lot of the time, if trim's already painted, you can get away with one coating it. But you have to put it on...
very thick.
Reasonably thick. Okay, so I'm just going to cut around the knobs. So the way I cut around the knobs, I just get a fair amount of paint on the brush. And I just stay about an inch and a half away from the thing. And I just get all the paint on.
Another thing to note too on trim is a lot of the time you won't be dealing with the same problem we are, which is yellowing, unless it is oil or satin or a flat-ish paint. So we are dealing with satin right now, I believe, right, Mike?
It's either satin or a semi-gloss, but
yeah.
Either way, it's pretty yellow. So we know it's not oil because it was done...
I'm gonna say it's a satin since there's no gloss effect on it. We'll just say it's a satin.
Yeah, it's not like overly glossy. It could even be a pearl. Pearl's between eggshell and semi-gloss.
It's right in that middle.
Okay, so I got the cut line pretty crisp. Now I'm just gonna finish it off so it doesn't look as streaky. And any drips that you gotta get rid of them right away.
Or else you sand them out after.
Yeah, you can sand them out after, but I mean, it's just a waste of time.
Yep.
You may as well just do it right from the get-go. Okay, so that one dunk of paint from the brush did that whole cut. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could probably cut around this, but I want the second go to go nice and crisply, so I'm just gonna get a little bit more paint. Oops, got some paint on the thing here. So yeah, once I get the paint on, then I work my way in closer and just...
And what are you doing with the brush to get at that angle? So you don't touch the knob. What are you doing there specifically?
Okay, so it's kind of like if you've ever played baseball or played golf, you gotta watch the ball the whole time till you hit it. So it's like the same thing with the cut line. You gotta watch the brush, you gotta watch the bristles going right in the cut line the whole time, and you just carry the weight of the brush with your wrist and your forearm.
So more about the pressure and the way you're navigating the brush.
Yeah.
Kind of like the skim coat earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything with paint is about pressure and navigation.
Yeah, so here I'm putting very little pressure. So like here, I'm gonna start the brush here, and then I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure and let the tip work its way in, and cut it like that. And now it's nicely cut. Great.
Perfect.
So the the cut line's nice. Now I'm just gonna finesse it. Finesse it there in the middle, so I don't get any big paint globs. Okay, so you guys can see everything on the door has been cut. Okay, so around the knobs, the bottom, and along the side there. Okay, so now comes the fun and fast part. So I'm just gonna get a healthy amount of paint on the roller to start. Okay, toss that there. Okay, now ideally, I'm just gonna open this. Okay, so the first thing I do is I just get all the paint into the nooks and crannies. Okay, just get a little bit more paint. And you're probably thinking that's ridiculous, but watch. You can, once you get it in all the nooks and crannies. Okay, actually I even have quite an excess of paint here. I may even be able to get away with this without dunking it again. Okay, so I'm really working it into all the nooks and crannies here. Okay, so that amount of paint between these 3 blocks is enough to spread it out. Okay, so now that the paint's on the surface, it's kind of the same thing with the brushwork. So the paint's in the nooks and crannies, it's in the areas I want to smooth out. Now comes the part where I'm just gonna smooth it out and have a bit more finesse. Okay, and if you have any stuff coming off from the tray, you just pick it out as you go. Okay, so now the inside of the box is covered, all the nooks and crannies are good. Just gonna finesse the inside of the box there, and there you go. Okay, so now I'm gonna paint around. Okay, so you always wanna do all your innards first and then finish afterwards.
And this is the easy part. This is just spreading the paint. Once you understand how to do the nooks and crannies, you basically get the gist of the door.
Yeah, so once you do one, you know, you're gonna have to just get a little bit of paint every now and then as you continue, you'll get more paint like how you started. But yeah, you just get a little bit of paint as you go to carry it along and get a nice finish. Okay.
This is finished product.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you learned something new and gained value from that. Feel free to check us out on social media at Altona Painting on Facebook and Instagram to see some of our most recently completed projects. Also, check out our website altonapainting.com to see our full portfolio and learn more about us. If you're in the Greater Toronto area and you're looking for a painter who values quality and professionalism, hit us up. Or if you know someone who is looking for a painter, pass our name along. Lastly, thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more instructional painting videos.